Okay, let's do lab 12.21, the PHP PDO message board lab. All right, now for those of you that are in coming from those of you that are ICS321, you want to make sure that you review 12.11, which shows you how classes and objects work in PHP. You're used to Java, and it's a little bit different. For those of you, this lab is the same as lab 15.6 if you're taking ICS 129, and I just added this 15.3 here, classes and objects, and this explains the difference between PHP and Python. And so many of you in 129 have already had our Python course. If you have not, that's fine. Just go through, just follow along, do what I do on the screen, and you should be fine. And you'll be introduced to some of the notation of classes and objects and so on. And when you do take Python, you'll probably have a much better understanding of it. Okay, so let's go back to here. In this lab, we're supposed to implement a message board interacting with written in PHP, interacting with a MySQL database using the PDO objects to do the interface, to handle the interface. Okay, so you type a message in here, you type in your name, and then you post it, and then it posts it up here. It shifts them down. The most recent one is going to be on the left here. Now this lab, they give us 7 or so files that and we're going to mess with like 3 of them. Okay. All right. So and that'll all become clear. All right. So step 1. Let's take a look at what the message table looks like. So to do that, we just need to run the project. Okay, and then it's going to tell us what the URL is of PHP so we can get into this thing here. See this? Okay, so let's just come down here and run the project. And you want to click on the console link here. And let's wait until it comes up for us. And I'm purposely leaving the video on so you can see how long this actually takes. So when you're doing it for the first time, you don't think that somehow something crashed. Anyway, so here we are. This first URL is the URL of PHP Let's take a look at that. And we log in. The login username is root. You type in root here. I've typed it in several times. That's why it's there. And there is no password. So type go. And here we are. And this is over here on the left. These are all the databases. You don't need to worry about any of these. Maybe you will later. But this one right now, we're doing this Zybooks DB. So you can click on the plus sign here. And we see that here's the table, message table. You can actually click on the message table and see other stuff. We're interested in click on the message table here. And you can see this is the data that's in the table. This is the Browse tab. When you click on the Structure tab, you can see these are the fields. Varchar 100, Varchar 30, and so on. Date, time fields. All right, so, and then our website, if you click on this one, this is what the website looks like. Okay, and we're going to make this work. Okay, so that's step 1. Step 2, in the database class, there's a, I'm going to pop open this thing here, click on doc, and I'm going to open it up wide. And so these are if you click on this, this was my work from before. Can I get rid of this? I guess not. Anyway, I've gone through this to make sure everything works before I start showing it to you. I don't want to show you the wrong thing. Okay, so in the database, in database.php, which would be this one. Oh, by the way, I was going to say you can click this little thing right here, and you can see all the files. Okay, so you probably know that. So in this database.php, this defines the database class, and in PHP, this is similar to like init and in Python. It's a constructor. This defines the constructor. This both creates the object and initializes it. This is a keyword. It's similar to self in Python, um, and um, uh, and this is how you access. This is how you would access. So here we're defining this PDO variable, which is actually a connection to the database. And you don't need to worry about any of this stuff. It fills it in for you, probably from something over here. Okay. All right, so the first thing we have to do is make get messages work. And so that's in database.php. Let me just get this right. Okay, get messages. Okay, so that's this down here. And so we're going to type in some code right here. Right now, when this thing runs, it initializes this array here, and then it just returns the array, and it's empty. So that's why what's displayed down here is empty. And you'll see what we want to do is we want to display these records. So let's do, first of all, we need to, let's define an SQL statement as, I'm going to just make a place there for it and what they tell us to use this. So this, of course, is select all the fields from the message table and order them by the posted field in descending order. Okay, so I'm going to copy this and put it right here. And then, we're going to run it and return, and it'll return whatever it's going to return accessible. I'm just going to do this call it statement. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use this we're inside this database object. We're saying that this PDO run this method run the query method, and the statement is this. Okay, so that's going to actually execute the query, and then we have it back in row equals statement fetch. Okay, so this fetches the first row. Okay, that's returned from here, if there is one. Otherwise, it returns null. We want to make this a while loop because we want to fetch them all. So I'm going to make this a while and put that in parentheses. And I'm going to do something with that. So this is going to keep on pulling row, and this is going to be a record. Keep on pulling that until there aren't any more. And what I want to do is I want to push those records into this array. So I'm going to use array push into the messages array an object. Well, what am I going to push into what object am I going to push into the message array? Well, I'm going to push a new message object. And I'll show you what the constructor looks like for that in a moment. And it's going to be the for It's going to be these. Are they listed anywhere? Well, they're actually listed here. ID, text, name, and posted. So, okay, so let's look at this message object. And I think that's like, I'll click here, and oh, here it is. It's in the DB folder. Let's take a look at that. And we see that it's just this class that's got 4 fields. It's the 4 fields. This is the constructor. It makes it look like that. That's how you refer to them, blah, blah. Okay, and this is return. Okay, so it's going to be, the first one is going to be row ID. I think I do a single quote, right? That doesn't matter. Single quote, fine. Of ID. No, it's an array element. It's not function. Oop. All right, so I'm going to do this. Okay, I'm going to copy paste this thing. I'm going to close this thing. And I'm going to copy paste this thing 3 more times. Copy, paste, 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 paste. Get rid of that last comma. This is this one is text. This one is double click. Okay. Name. And this one is double click posted. Okay, so these 4 values go into making a new message object according to, you know, and we saw the definition of that. And that new message object gets pushed. Is that closes it? This closes the array push. No. I wonder if there's too many parentheses. Let's see, 1, 2. Okay, yeah, this one is not. I don't think this belongs. Okay. And in PHP, you have to put a semicolon after each statement. That's what separates them, separates the statements. And so this loads up the message array, and I believe that's all we need. Okay, so now when this thing executes, it's going to actually return some messages. I think we can see that. Let's run it. Run. And let's look at the console. Okay, let's go look at this. Refresh this. Oop. Error. Bada. I didn't define, I don't think I defined, did I not define array correctly? Message, and I said messages, so that's not defined. So let's make this messages. Okay, now let's run it. And let's go back over here and refresh. And oh, look, here it is. There's the first message. Here's the second message. Can you see my message? Nice project. This is, okay, so if we go over to here, can you see my messages? They were both put in at exactly the same time. That's interesting. Okay, so they came up however they came up. But we'll see that work when we get add a message to work. We'll see. All right. So in add a message, complete add a message, use the insert statement. Use this thing. Okay. So let's go to add a message right here. Yeah, and then we have to go here and mess with this. We have to put some code in there. Okay, so first of all, let's fix this. And that looks like, let's create an SQL statement. I'm going to just type it again. SQL equals double quote, semicolon, and I'm going to use this. Copy. This works. Yeah. All right. And then I'm going to, okay, we need to use the insert statement in a prepared statement. That means we use the prepare method. It's not the same as up there. This one's easy. This one is, we use the prepare statement. So that looks like this. And then first we prepare it, and then we use these bind value statements to connect, to put the value that we want to insert for the text and the value that we want to insert for the name. And now is just going to use the MySQL method now, which just returns the date and the time. And so first we prepare it. So I'm going to use the same keyword or the same variable name. And it's this, which in this language is a keyword, meaning this particular object, this particular instance, and the PDO thing. And then we're going to do the prepare and prepare this SQL statement. Okay, so now it's prepared to accept bind values. So let's do statement bind value, and to the first one we want the value for text to be put in there, and the second one, bind value, the second one we want is the name. Okay, so this first one here is going to bind the value for text to that question mark, and this is going to bind this to that question mark, and that's the right order. Okay. All right. So and when I'm done with this and we get them working, I'm going to explain why we have to do it that way. You're probably wondering, well, why can't we just put, quote text here and put quote name here? Why can't we do that? Well, you can, but there's two problems that come with that, and I'll mention those in a moment. Anyway, let's see if this works. Okay, so once we're done binding them, then we can execute them. Okay, there we go. And this should, now we should be able to add messages. Not quite. We got to do this. And what this is we need to modify this so it works. Okay, so the first thing we got to do is, okay, so we type our code here. Our text value is ready to go. It's not going to be any larger than 100 characters. Our name value is ready to go. It's not going to be any larger than 30 characters. Here, we're talking about the size of these things. And now the first thing we got to do is we got to connect to the database. Okay, we aren't connected to anything yet. We don't have access to the database yet. So so we need to include this code. We need to include this code so we can create objects that connect to this database, and then we're going to access it and so on. So to do that, we can use require, or we could use include. We could use, but let's use require, and you can look up the difference between those if you want. This is going to be a new. No, I'm not even. Require this file, this include file. Okay, include that file, and that gives us access to that code. And then let's create a new object, and I'll call it just DB. and it's going to be a new database object, which has got access to all the goodies. And one of the goodies is to be able to add message. That's this one we just made here. This one, we want to access, we want to do that one. So DB, we access that method this way. It should be an equal sign. Add message, text. This text field that just came in here from the post, text field, and then the name field in that order. And you know, that should really do it. So let's see if it works. I'm gonna run it, and then I'm gonna go over here to the message board and refresh. I'm gonna assume it's done. This is a new message from Richard. Enclosed on line 3 does not match that. Okay, so very good. It's on line 16. Let's go take a look of add message.php at line 16. Here we go. Oh, look. All right, let's try this again. Run. Okay, I think it's done. Refresh. Here we go. Because this was still waiting to be executed. So this is a second new message, and this is Ricardo post. All right, there we go. There's that one, and those from before. Ooh. Okay, so but the thing is, delete doesn't work. Okay, cannot delete. All right, so let's go back and let's do the third one. Delete a message. It's in the database class, and it is this one. Well, this is pretty simple. Let's start with an SQL. $SQL equals, you know, you can actually, oh, we still have to do the bind value thing. Okay, so let's do this. Let's do it this way. Do it the way we are doing it. Copy this thing. Copy. Paste. And then we're going to do the same stuff here. All of this, except for we only need one of the bind values, not two of them. We don't need this one here. Okay, so let me just tell you why we have to do it this way. Why can't we just put, wait, oh, okay, it's this one. Oh, it's not text. I gotta make sure this is right. This is what we're binding, this one. Message ID. Okay, so why can't we just do this? Why can't we just do, you know, this? Single quote, message ID, single quote, okay? Why can't we do that? Well, we can. It'll work, okay? And then we don't do prepare, we just do query. Okay, so instead of these three things, we just do this. Okay, now the problem with this is that this opens up to SQL injection. And so if you're letting the user enter something in, some text in there, and you don't check it, you know, and you don't have these safeguards, it's possible that that user could enter something that changes the SQL statement. Like it does something like, let's say it does this. It it does you make it a single, just a single quote, and then you go um, or uh, you know, ID uh, less than or ID greater than 1 or something. Okay, so what this would do is this would delete all the messages where ID is greater than 1. Okay, and that's because you and let's do this again. Or okay, so the let's say the user makes that be what's going to be inserted in between those two quotes. Well, that would turn this SQL statement into a statement that would delete all the messages except for message ID equals 1 or 0 or negative possibly. And so that's why we don't allow that. That's why we do this extra question mark, and then we have the prepare statements. Okay, so that keeps it from happening. A second reason is that not so much for this, but if this is text, if we're putting text in here, if we had quotes then text, it's possible that the text has quotes in it. And if the text has quotes in it, then you have to escape the quotes inside the text. And this bind value knows to do that. Okay, so that's a second thing that you don't have to worry about. All right, so let's run this. Now let's go back here, and it should load everything up. And let's try to delete this one. I forgot to do something, I bet. I think I forgot to do this. I have to connect it up. All right, let's connect it up using this delete message. I didn't do this part. So to do that part, I have to say, first I got to do, I'm going to just go back over here. I got to have this. I'm going to copy all this. Copy. Put it over here. Here. Paste. And that's going to be the same. That's going to be the same. But what's not going to be the same is delete message. Delete message, and it's this. That's what we're deleting. Okay. Now it should work. So let's run it and refresh. And I should be able to delete this one. I did. Let's delete this old one. Nice. Okay. So it looks like delete works. All right. So that's it. Hope this helps. Thanks for watching.